Welcome back to our podcast. Can you handle the truth? Let's go and dive in. I hope you had an amazing time and you are enjoying to listen to this new series of podcasts. And we'll jump just right in. So, today we are going to be speaking about that amazing one, money. So, the foundation of all the problems on this planet is money. Every problem comes back to money. And this is another fact. Cancer was cured in late 1930s. And again, this is another fact. Cancer research is a multi-trillion business. And that is also a fact. Cancer treatment is a multi-trillion business. And yeah, this is another yet fact. Every tiny aspect of our life is decided for you. There is no escaping the fact. And this is the fifth fact in a mere 5 paragraphs. Wow. What do you think about that? But let's not stop just yet. It's all about control, ladies and gentlemen. And the key to that control is the fake money. Sorry, but guess what? This is a fact. Killing animals to extinction is also about money. Another fact. Take off the blinkers, folks, or you are doomed to run around in a tight circle all your life through. Corporations, governments are raping our planet. Yes, they are. And that is another fact. So, where do we start? What is it that the governments, corporations do not control? Let's go and have a look, shall we? Who pays Big Pharma? Who gives Big Pharma a license? Who pays and gives Monsanto a license? What is the control and what is the key? Well, the fake money is the control and, yes, you guessed it, the key. So who funds all this? Well, that would be the taxpayer. Here's that word again. Fact. So who is the real scumbag here footing the bill? Can you guess it? Well, yeah, it is the spineless taxpayer. It comes right to each of our front doors and to us directly, each one of us. You can turn all the pages of the amount of books you read, or if you want, you can stop listening to this, but there is no real escape from the effing facts. And again, this is another fact. That was my hardest lesson because I was just like you, I would just go along with the narrative imposed by those who make us believe that this is what we have to do. And yes, we have to pay and we have to behave because that's how society dictates it, Yeah, just do it because everyone else is doing it. What are you on about? Just keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. Well, it is not, and it will never be after you know what I know. It will never be the same. And the same is another word you will be like running away from. If you have any sense of responsibility, you will just shut up and listen. So, the bottom line. The bottom line is that all tax is illegal because you never agreed to pay it. If you knew that you had agreed to pay all the tax and the duty and the VAT, yeah, you would be saying to yourself, well, when did I do that? Exactly. When did we agree to that, right? Well, let's have a look from our parent David Ward. Again, he did all the work for us. So he says that a term of parliament is only 4 years. So you must have signed an agreement within the last 4 years. And more exactly, the 68 million of us, even if that number is correct, we must have done that. We must have been in a big event somewhere that nobody went to and nobody saw the advertising for. We don't remember hearing the town crier shouting across the towns every 4 years, "Come ye and sign the forms, or the poor politicians will go angry." No, we didn't hear that. That never happened. So, if you did not agree to let the government take the money out of your pocket without a bill of exchange, then it must be illegal. And you guessed it, it is. It's illegal, which is not legal and not lawful, which means it's against the law. You know, the law, that one that we start the podcast with? Yeah, right. If it is against the law and they do it anyway, then it is fraud as well. So, every time a cash register rings and there is a VAT receipt, that's fraud as well. But if you don't know it is fraud, then you are not going to get upset about it. See my point here? Well, here is something for you to get upset about it. When you add up all the instances of tax the taxman takes around 85%. That's 85% of everything. That leaves 15% for you to live on and buy food and heating and clothes, and everything you need to live comes out of those little 15%. And that must be okay because the government said so, you know? Yes. Well, the government must need this much money to pay for everything, and everything is so expensive these days. You see what I mean? So the government pays for the school and the teachers and the books and the power and everything for that school. It costs a small fortune, and you lot want to have your schools naughty. But all that activity, the very process of having that school in your daily lives, the government takes 85% back in tax. So it only costs the government 15%. Everything the government pays for, they get 85% in tax. So what happened to the 85%? Whose sky pocket did that end up in? Let's do a reverse thing on this one, shall we? So, if you go out and buy a new car, it would cost you, let's say, 20K. If you got 85% back, then the car would have cost you, let's say, 3K, right? Now, that is the actual cost of the car without all the tax. Now, because you cannot afford to pay the 20K in one go, what do you need? Yes, you need that special finance deal from a finance company to extend your loan for the car. This finance loan is paid off over 5 years with interest, and the car actually costs, you say, 30K to 35K, and the taxman takes what? Yeah, 85% of this as well. Are you doing the maths already? Yeah, is it good for you? Are you enjoying it? I hope you are, because it doesn't get any better, right? I think I see you already doing all those counting, and your mind is going bananas, but let's continue. Are you still wondering why the cost of living in this country is so high? But we have to pay the tax. It is the law. Is it the law that you have to pay tax? Is it really? Can you go and find out all those amazing books where you've read that? Or are you just doing the same thing just because someone else says so, and you have no clue because you didn't research it for yourself? If there was a law that said you had to pay tax for which you clearly get nothing back for, then isn't that a form of slavery? Come on, guys. Think about it. Yeah. Let's give this a good think about it, shall we? Yes, it would be, but there is no such law. You find it and you suddenly realize that it is not law, but an act of parliament. And that is an act, not a law. So what is the difference? Well, acts of parliament are not laws. They are not called laws. They have never been laws. Acts and statutes of parliament are legislative rules or company policy. If you go to Black's Law Dictionary, you will find that it gives you a legal definition of a statute. And it says the following: statute, a law passed by a legislative body, specific legislation enacted by any law-making body, including legislators, administrative boards, and municipal courts. The term act is interchangeable as a synonym. For each of the subtrees listed below, act is sometimes substituted for statute. And then you have ABBR S/STAT cases statutes 2.CGS statutes 2.3 Black's Law Dictionary 8th edition 2004 page 4419. We are not justified in limiting the statutory law to those rules only which are promulgated by what we commonly call legislators. Any positive enactment to which the state gives the force of law is a statute, whether it has gone through the usual stages of legislative proceedings or has been adopted in other modes of expressing the will of the people or other sovereign power of the state. In an absolute monarchy, an edict of the ruling sovereign is statutory law. Constitutions being direct legislation by the people must be included in the statutory law, and indeed they are examples of the highest form that the statute law can assume. Generally speaking, treaties also are statutory law because in this country, under the provisions of the United States Constitution, treaties have not the force of law until so declared by the representatives of the people. William M. Lyle, at Law, Brief Making, and the Use of Law, Books 8th, 3rd edition of 1914. So, what is legal? Well, legal is a legal agreement, not a law. From this Black's Law Dictionary, we can observe from the legal definition that a statute is a legislative rule given force of law by the consent of the governed. Well, who is the governed then? Is that you and those it applied to, and why or why not? Well, you must be the governed if you elected a prime minister into government, surely. But there is a legal dependency there, which is a mandatory governing factor of the legal condition, which must be satisfied before the acts and statutes can be given force of law. And that is the consent of the governed, right? So, when was there a big singing of the consent forms down at the town hall? When did you go? You must have signed this consent form every 4 years. Otherwise, for the government to impose the tax, it's illegal, you see. Yo hey, ho hey, oh hey. Everybody must go down to the local town hall immediately and sign the consent form so that the government is not guilty of fraud and they can tax you out of house and home. Yeah, it can't be that simple, can it? Well, yes, it is. Whilst you are running around like a handless chicken trying to make ends meet, do you have time to read the Black's Law Dictionary and study law? No, you did not. Do the teachers teach law in schools? Oh, well, no, they do not. It is not on the curriculum, which is dictated by the not government. You see? Well, all the lawyers must know about this. Well, no, they don't. It's not on the curriculum at the university. Okay? So I have that as an experience because we had a friend, and that friend was a long time lawyer, and we were having a meal. He had came to visit us, and I was trying to, not to make the dinner look awkward, and but I couldn't kept my mouth shout my oh my god, no. I couldn't keep my mouth shut because I wanted to ask questions from someone that's on the field 24/7, and I wanted to see what he had to say about this. So I asked him about the consent of the government, if it was a thing, and I wanted to see what he had to say about it. Well, if you ever seen a barrister with his mouth open and his eyes rolling in the back of his head, then I can tell you that is a sight to behold. And after a long silence, which I was just, wondering if he was going to say, because previous to that, of course, we had like this fiery debate, and he was trying to bring those lingos of, lawyers, attorneys, whatever they want to call themselves these days. And I was not backing down, So I just ask the question, do you understand what I just said? And his answer was amazing, because he said, yes, I understand implicitly, but that won't work in the real world. And I was just like, what? How come? What do you call the real world? I would definitely call the fictional world, because what you are trying to tell me is that in your pretend, wanna be real, too much fake world, it won't work, because truth and facts cannot be brought into your world. It has nothing to do with my world, you see? So the answer is that most of these people, barristers, lawyers, attorneys, solicitors, police, bailiffs, it doesn't matter to them, because they have their make-believe world to defend, because this will put at risk a lot of things. The consent of the governed, it's so powerful, because all of these people, they work in this establishments, so they have to protect it, they have to defend it, because if what you are saying is that, oh my god, they don't exist, you see, they are frauds, and we've been we've been doing this. We've been working for this fraudsters our lives, and our lives depends on this, because I have the mortgage, I have this, I have to take kids to the university, and I have my pensions and all of this, you see. So would anybody else actually listen to this? To a lot, it's obscene, because it is that simple. How can 68 million people overlook this? It must be me that is insane. Well, I don't think so. For things to be different means that we live in a complete state of tyranny. But we don't live in a complete state of tyranny. We live in a complete state of contrived ignorance of the facts. And that's the truth. That's the truth that no one else wants to see. That's what people are protecting. That's what you are up against. You cannot bring that house down. You cannot shred those ideas from people, you see. But the thing is that governments, PLC, are a company who control the education authorities through legislation, which is given force of law by the consent of the governed. Oops. Yes. When did you give your consent? When did we give our consent? This is a mandatory legal dependency, without which none of the legislation can be acted upon. Look at it like this. If the government came to you and explained what they want to do to govern us, such as stop us when they like, when no crime has been committed, tax you for 92%, own your car, your own, and take it away when they like, take your kids when they like, would you agree? No, you would not. And the establishment do this because they fooled everyone with clever language and deceit. Statute is the rules of the game. And for us to be governed, they required our consent. 68.2 million to be exact. They know that no one would consent to these terrorists' acts. So the purpose of reading the affidavit is to understand firstly what a statute is by reading the case authority first, which consists of a simple PCN challenge. It's been staring us in our faces all this time, and we did not see it. It has been cleverly dissected and disseminated where a child can understand it. Walk before you fly. The purpose of reading the affidavit over and over and over again is to know what the psychos have been getting away with. Then you can email it to them and let them know that you know the game. You are on to them. And for that, it will be game over. Another thing that you can have a look is write the word terrorist in the Google search or Google dictionary. You will be surprised that knowing that a terrorist is a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. So, does that ring a bell? As an adjective, unlawfully using violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. Yes. That's what we have to be deal with. Yeah. So this is the truth. This is the awful, transparent truth. Those are the facts, and you have to start looking them in the face and stop fighting against each other amongst each other, and stop looking at the facts. Stop asking the right questions, or better, not stop asking the right, do ask the right questions, yeah, but stop complying with what everybody is telling you, even with me. What I'm just doing here is basically sharing with you the things I've learned, and I started to ask questions. I started to dig in. I started to find things for myself, and then I made my own constructions. So you don't have to fall back on anyone. Like, you see, you don't have to say, oh, I learned with this, I learned. No, I went and I asked questions and I researched, and this is what I came. So I want to know, where do you got your information from? Where can I read the same things you are reading? When speaking with these people and they're in those positions, and they will tell you, oh, you have to do this because you have to do this. Well, show me, where is it written? Who is it written for? Is it written for you because you work for the company? You see? Yeah, little things we can start doing, and yeah, take step by step, and telling these people that no more, enough is enough. That's it. That's all we have to say. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy your day.